What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today, I am joined by a very awesome game developer, Mr. David Brevik. I hope I pronounced your name correctly there.
That's correct. Yep.
So, everybody, all the McMinions, say hello to David Brevik. And Mr. Brevik, why don't you just go ahead and take the floor, introduce yourself, talk about your past.
Sure. Let's see. I've been in the video game industry since 1991. So 31 years now. My first games were on Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo to kind of date me. And I've been in the industry, made tons and tons of games. But probably in the early 90s, I formed a company with two brothers, Max and Eric Schaefer, and the three of us formed a development company called Condor that later changed its name to Blizzard North. And I was president of Blizzard North. We created Diablo and Diablo 2, and I was lead programmer and designer and all sorts of stuff on Diablo 2. It was kind of my idea, and inspired by a bunch of games I played in college, some Unix games called Moria and Angband and Umori and all sorts of rogue and NetHack. I mean, the term roguelike comes from the game Rogue, and that's I was playing Rogue. So those were kind of inspirations for Diablo, and so then we were there for about 10 years, and after Diablo 2, we left and created another company. Max and Eric and myself and a few other people made flagship studios where we made Hellgate London. And then after that, which was the original looter shooter, which is a pretty common genre now. So we were first ARPG and first looter shooter. And then some people debate the ARPG thing, but the term ARPG didn't exist before Diablo. They didn't know what to call it when it first came out. They didn't know to call it an action game or a role-playing game, so they made up the term ARPG in reference to Diablo, and that's what I still claim that's the way it is. Then after that, I went and spent a short time on DDO, and helped make it free to play, and then went to a company where I came on as being the creative director for a game called Marvel Heroes, a company called Gazillion, and eventually I was promoted again and became CEO of the company, which seemed to happen every single time I'm at any company. And
that's a good sign, right?
I mean, it is and it's not. I mean, I'm good at it, unfortunately, but it doesn't really. When a company of 300 people or whatever, and you're CEO, I'm not doing much game dev, right? And so then it was, I kind of burnt out on being CEO and raising money and, doing all the things that you need to do as CEO, which was not game dev. When I was a kid, I didn't go, hey, someday I want to grow up and be CEO. I wanted to grow up and make video games. And so I kind of quit and went a little crazy, went kind of the bonkers direction and made an indie game all by myself. Where I did all of the coding, the art, the music, everything. Made my own engine.
Oh, wow. That is impressive.
A game called It Lurks Below, which I released a few years ago. And then since then, I started another company called Skystone, where we're releasing. I'm a publisher now, and I'm helping young devs, give them advice, technical advice, game design advice, and things like that, and help making their products great as well, and as kind of investing in their projects and stuff, and publishing them. So a little bit different kind of publisher, where it's not just the publisher giving somebody money and like marketing. This is more hands-on and can give kind of trenches level development experience.
But yeah, I mean,
so that's what I've been up to lately.
You've been around the block. It's basically like you've
and I consulted on a zillion different games. I helped design everything: StarCraft, Warcraft 3, World of Warcraft, like all sorts of games, from cartridge games to shooters sports games. But I did a lot of sports games in the 90s and even in the 2000s. And so, I've made a variety of different games in many different genres and casual games, all sorts of stuff. So I have quite a breadth of experience in making games for a long time.
Yeah, no, it's the reason that we're bringing you on is because surprise, you play Marvel Strike Force, and you stream over on Twitch. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, my wife and I stream. We used to stream every day, or like I'd say 5 times a week. But then now I have Skystone, but I also have other jobs. I'm consulting on some projects and stuff. And so unannounced, I can't talk about them. But as well as she got a job. She's a game developer. She was a programmer on Diablo 2.
Oh,
That's
nice.
where we met. So she's got a job making a mobile game as well. So since then we've cut back and we don't stream there as much anymore. But we do stream on Twitch. We try to get at least 3 or 4 times a month. So.
Okay,
but we were doing about five times a week before. So,
what's your Twitch's channel name? I'll go ahead. I'll get a link to it down below in the video description if people can go check it out.
It's called the Jungle Queen is the name of the channel.
That's an interesting name.
Yeah, it's my wife's name. She's used it for a long time. It's in reference to this comic, but I can't remember what it is right now.
So, yeah, like I said, you play Marvel Strike Force, and on a recent stream,
Yes.
you were very harsh about the game, and we're gonna talk about your thoughts on the game in terms of stability issues, and like kind of pick your brain where you're coming from, because you're a game developer, you've been around the block, you know how these things work, and that's really what I'm aiming for in this video, but also just kind of chatting because like I told you already, like my brother and I grew up playing Diablo 2, Warcraft 3, like those were big games. So when I saw that you were making these comments, and I was like, David Brevik, why does that name sound so familiar? And I looked it up and I was like, oh my God, I've got to get this guy on. And like, yeah, you agreed to do the interview. I messaged my brother. I was like, bro, you're never going to guess who I'm about to interview. And like, yeah, man, it's been great. My Alliance leader who just quit, I interviewed him a couple weeks ago. He was playing the Diablo Immortal closed beta. And I told him who I was interviewing. He's like, "You gotta ask him about his thoughts on Diablo Immortal too." So have you checked out Diablo Immortal? Have you taken a look at it?
I haven't played it yet, but I've seen screenshots and read a bunch of comments on it and things like that. I think that the concept of doing a mobile games in general for big licenses is there's going to be more and more of it. I mean, mobile platforms become more and more powerful. They're able to run things just as well as kind of like state-of-the-art machines. And so pretty soon you're going to be in a situation where you see products come out on every platform. That kind of Fortnite style or Genshin Impact style, where there's just tons of the same products on multiple platforms. So I see that as kind of the future of mobile gaming. I think that mobile games, the way that they are right now, will still exist as well, but I think that there'll be more and more kind of these experiences where it's on all platforms. As for Diablo Immortal, I don't know. I haven't played it, so I don't have any of the details. I've heard kind of mixed reviews on feedback, but it's not done yet, and so we'll see how it goes. I've been working. People ask me about Diablo all the time, but I haven't done anything on Diablo for a very long time now.
Right.
For 20 years, and they've never really asked me anything. Like, they don't contact me. They don't really talk to me.
Man.
I've tried to reach out several times, but they aren't really interested in chatting me, which has been kind of the traditional way that Blizzard has worked in the past. That they were very much like, if it's not in-house, then, it's kind of, it doesn't matter. We're going to focus on us.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that approach changes now that they've been acquired by Microsoft. And like the whole Activision acquisition, that's a bit of a tongue twister there. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that culture changes. Like if that changes anything with Diablo Immortal, it changes like their their whole business plan
Well,
with it.
things are changing anyhow. I mean, the fact
Yeah.
of the matter is, Blizzard's not even close to the same company it
Oh
was
no.
long ago, and for sure, even 5 years ago. Like, there's been so much turnover at the kind of executive level of Blizzard that it's just not even close to the same
Yeah.
company. And because of that, you get cultural changes and all sorts of things that take place. And frankly, they need a culture change. It seems
Hmm.
like with the kind of uh, disgusting things that went on there.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're finally getting an adult in the room to make some grown up policies,
Yeah.
and
No,
maybe they can change their ways.
yeah, it's crazy. Like looking back on it now, you're like, man, like it's a shadow of its former self, and it's a shame, man. Like
It is. It
just
really is.
just the downfall of that company. But hopefully they turn around. Um, fingers crossed, and we get back to the Blizzard of old. But
That'd be nice.
yeah, it would be nice. But enough about Blizzard and everything. We've got Marvel stuff to talk about.
Sure.
Marvel Heroes, like that's pretty much an action RPG in a way. Like I look at that game and I'm like, okay, I can
Yeah.
definitely see the influence of Diablo on this. What was it like working with Marvel? Was this something where you were like constantly like interacting with Marvel? You had someone from Marvel like kind of breathing down your neck, constantly checking to make sure you were doing XYZ, keeping with lore, anything like that?
Yeah. Well, our relationship with Marvel was kind of interesting,
Mm-hmm.
fascinating, bizarre, mainly because it was kind of a strange time. When we started out, I mean, when I originally went to Turbine
Mm-hmm.
and when I worked on DDO because they were going to get the Marvel licenses, knowing that I'm a big Marvel nut. And so they were like, "Oh, we heard that you want to make a Marvel game, and how would you like to come here and make a Marvel MMO?" I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." So I went there, and then about 6 months went by while they were trying to finish up the license, and then they go, "Oh, we're not going to get the license." And then my friend John Romero, he called me and said, "Hey, I'm over at Gazillion, and I heard that you want to make a Marvel game, and we have a Marvel license." So, so I went over to Gazillion and made Marvel Heroes. And what kind of started out to be a different design eventually morphed into kind of a Diablo and Marvel kind of combination. In the
Mm-hmm.
end, I'm super happy and super pleased with the product that we kind of came to. I think that it played super well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, really a great experience. I loved so much about the project, and I'm really proud that we were able to take what was kind of a disastrous launch. The company had all sorts of financial problems before I got there. The then CEO raised tons and tons of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, and like burnt through it and didn't have anything to show for it. We were the only kind of product that was left, really, us and this other game called Superhero Squad Online, and so we kind of took the mantle, and the company was kind of distressed the entire time. So it was kind of a difficult road, but our relationship with Marvel was great.
Good.
Once we started out, we got a couple of people over there. They were really into our project. They knew about us and our design. They were enthusiastic. They were really supportive. And then about a year and a half, 2 years into development, they got bought by Disney,
Yeah.
and things changed.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. When you suddenly your parent company, like I can't imagine what happened with Marvel Strike
Well,
Force, where it's Fox next, and then all of a sudden the next day you're Scopely, and like it just completely
right.
changes things.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, all the people we'd been working close with, they all got fired. They all
Yeah.
got let go. Literally fired everybody in all the video game department and reset it completely, with this promise that this person was going to come in, and he's like, I think that I can make our Marvel games be the biggest games in the whole industry, just like our Marvel movies are the biggest movies in the whole industry. There's no reason we can't be succeeding on that level and have the Blizzards and the, whatever, the Valves or the Square Enix or whatever of the world working on our products and making top-notch quality Marvel games. And so we were kind of a project that existed before the new group that was there. And
Yeah.
so they largely didn't like us or our product or anything like that. Uh, because for a variety of reasons, but they didn't want to kind of support. That's kind of the old way we did things, and we had kind of a really open license. In fact, we had access to X-Men and things like that that other people didn't at the time. Marvel was fighting with Fox, trying to get the X-Men license back from
Mm-hmm.
them. And so they were like de-emphasizing X-Men and like not allowing X-Men in products and stuff, but we had already had that as part of our license. So we were like this outlier that made it things a lot more difficult for us as kind of this next group of people came in. The actual day-to-day dealing with things and getting approvals and stuff, though there was overhead and it was kind of a pain to get every little thing approved, it wasn't tremendously bad. It wasn't the worst experience getting assets or costumes or whatever approved. It was, they had little notes here and there and stuff like that, but largely wasn't that bad. But sometimes we'd come up with game ideas and we'd submit them to them and they would reject them and then we would work on them or whatever. And the thing is that they aren't really game designers, so they don't really understand what is what works and doesn't work and why we need these systems or whatever for whatever. So dealing with Marvel has advantages and disadvantages.
Mm-hmm.
Disadvantages, you've got more overhead. They can say no to game ideas that could really help the game, and so that sucks. But then the advantage is you have Marvel, you have a built-in audience, you have visibility and things like that really help the product in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Was it always like, did you always want to work on a Marvel game, or was it just because the opportunity presented itself?
Oh, I definitely had talked about working on a Marvel game for a long time.
Yeah.
I worked on a DC game actually before Diablo.
Oh, really?
Called Justice League Task Force, which was a fighting game, kind of a Street Fighter clone, but between with the Justice League. So it was Superman and Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, etc. And kind of one-on-one pixel art fighting game. And in fact, we were doing the Sega Genesis version of this game, and we show up at a trade show to show off the Sega Genesis version, and another team was making the Super Nintendo version of that game.
Oh, no.
The same game. And we're like, holy shit, we didn't even know that there was another team making a different version of this. And the games, like, we'd never chatted, we never talked. The publisher didn't let us know that they had kind of split the license in two and given us the Genesis version and them the Super Nintendo version. Anyway, they were called Silicon and Synapse. They changed their name to Blizzard, and that's how we met.
Oh, wow. That's how. Oh my gosh. I had no idea. Oh, man. Wow, you just blew my mind. I had no idea. That's insane. Wow.
So I worked with licensed games for a long time. I also did like a lot of licensed stuff with, sports games or whatever and things like that. But Marvel is something I wanted to work on for a while, and was really excited about the opportunity to work on a Marvel game when I did get the chance.
Yeah, well, that's really awesome. I never knew that about Blizzard. Like that, I can't believe that's how you met Blizzard. Just because like a studio just split it between two studios. The fact that they never even said anything blows my mind too.
Yeah, it was weird. And when they showed up, the games were just like so similar. Like a lot of the moves were similar, and the backgrounds were kind of similar and stuff. It was like, wow, this is really weird. And we knew that we kind of like meshed at that time, right?
Yeah.
It was like, hey, we have very similar ideals on how to make games here.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's really cool. So what was like the biggest lesson you learned from your time at Gazillion running Marvel Heroes? What was like the biggest takeaway you had from your time there?
Well, working with a license is expensive.
Yes. That's a good cut of the money you just never see because it automatically has to go to the license holder, right?
Correct. Yeah, and there's a minimum guarantee. You have to pay some amount. Let's just say 7+ figures to them every year, whether or not you've made that in profit or not.
Oh,
And so then if you're above that number, the minimum guarantee, then you have to pay a percentage, right? So whatever is the bigger number, and so it's it's tough, and so I think that there are a couple things. First off, working with a license is hard, but it can be really rewarding.
Yeah.
I think that especially if you're really passionate about the IP, I think that it's just so much fun. Secondly, that I learned my lesson big time on we should have done early access for Marvel Heroes because it came out of the gate and it was not ready yet.
Right.
That was
right.
largely because the company was really distressed, and we had to get something out in order to get the investors to continue to fund us. And that first year was really amazing, mainly because we had done something that I'd never done. It was kind of the anti-Blizzard, which was that we started streaming. This is how my wife and I started streaming. We started streaming the game 5 nights a week. I would play with the community. And so as the CEO of the
That's nuts.
company, I was playing the game every day. And I was getting feedback from the community. We were participating in events together. I would see bugs. I'd come in. I'd whine to the dev team about what was wrong or what needed to be fixed or we need this other kind of content or like whatever because I was passionate about playing the game. And we improved it.
Good.
And we changed our Metacritic score from on launch. It was like a 60 or 65 or something really terrible, and then we changed it to like a mid-80s a year later when we rebranded it as Marvel Heroes 2015 because of all the wonderful changes and commitment that the dev team had to just making a great product and commitment that we had to our community. And I think that was one of the biggest lessons I learned is how powerful community can be, how powerful playing together can be, how powerful being involved and listening and working together, and that just made such a better game, and I just loved that time.
Good, man. That's it's crazy because you can like just hearing that. I'm like, man, if only with Marvel Strike Force, like we get like people more involved. Like I know their new lead. He says he plays Marvel Strike Force. So, I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but for a long time, it's felt like we're just kind of sitting here and like we feel like the people who are in charge of Boundless and in charge of Marvel Strike Force, we just get this feeling they don't play the game. And then have you seen the new event that dropped tonight, the stockpile, the Stark orbs? Have you taken a look at that yet?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh,
no,
man,
I haven't. Last time I logged in was this morning, so.
Do yourself a favor, just don't look at it. It's not pretty. It's people are doing the math. It's something like 1,000 cores per player for each member in your alliance to get like the orbs and everything. It's a very spend heavy event. Which do you spend on Marvel Strike Force? You don't have to answer this if like do you or do you not? Are you free to play with Marvel Strike Force?
I have spent, but I don't spend much, but I have.
Okay. Good. I'm not gonna ask how much you spend. That is completely your business. But what got you into playing Marvel Strike Force?
Well, first off, it's Marvel. That was what, and then I was playing a lot of Star Wars Galaxy Heroes,
yeah.
And so this was similar in design to Galaxy Heroes, which I really loved, and so I was very excited about playing it, and that's what originally got me into it. Was I knew that this was coming out. I knew that because I keep up on all whatever kind of Marvel products are coming out, and so it was I was excited about giving it a try, and I was there early, maybe day one. So,
were you a part of the beta, or was you just waiting for the global launch?
No, I didn't. I wait for the launch. Yeah.
Okay. So you missed out. You missed all that fun then with the.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was. I remember being part of the.
There's a reason I wait for launch.
because that beta looked really great, and then the global launch hit, and you like it just kind of soured real quick there. A lot of players like I remember the meta at the beginning was like Black Widow, and
Yeah.
like her speed up, and she was free to play, obtainable in the beta, and then global launch hit, and all of a sudden she became premium orb exclusive, and it's like, I don't know about this. Wasn't a good first look on the global launch.
Yeah, it was not yeah, there were some missteps for sure.
Yeah. But like so like okay, so on your stream, you had a little bit of a rant about Marvel Strike Force. You said it's one of the crashiest games you play, and right now I think the entire game player base will agree with you. I'm surprised. I've got BlueStacks right in the background. I'm surprised my BlueStacks is running Marvel Strike Force right now. Like, I've had to play on my phone. I know Boylon cannot play on BlueStacks right now. It's literally unplayable for a lot of people right now. And then you went further on and said that they had like fired all of their engineers. You said fire their. I don't know if you said fired all of their engineers, but fire their engineers. Like, if you don't mind me saying, that's a bold claim to make. I assume I'm guessing like some of the people that you worked with at Gazillion and Marvel Heroes probably worked on Scopely or worked here with Foxnex and did sort of Marvel Strike Force. But like, how do you know about that? Like, I guess not saying that you're lying, but like, how do you know?
There are rumors in the industry that team members have been that the team has shrunk a lot, in size, and that it's kind of gone into what a lot of people would term kind of a maintenance mode, where the team is largely design and with the tool they have a little bit of art design heavy light engineering, mainly because they aren't making new systems, they're just making new content and maximizing profitability with a small team.
Yeah, that does not sound good. Like,
I mean, this is a game that's been out for a while. This happens on a lot of mobile games. This happens all the time. And it's really in the name of business that they want to make sure that they're maximizing the player base is diminishing. I would say that they are trying to make sure that they keep as much of their audience as possible. And so they're doing a lot of things to try and kind of string out or grind away at making things take a long time so that they can keep people around. That's the philosophy. I don't agree with that philosophy, but I think that it is a philosophy that apparently works because a lot of people do it and they have metrics on its effectiveness.
Yeah, I know I don't know if you read the article by Brian Shea in Game Informer talking about how the things have become a little less free to play, but he was talking about like there was an earnings call and Scopely said something like $200-300 million this game has brought in revenue, and like that the fact that they're wanting to keep that in maintenance mode just doesn't make sense, because if you have a game bringing in that much money, wouldn't you want to like keep it going, bring in the engineers, make sure the game is smooth? Because I feel like the way this game is right now with just kicking people off, like, you're going to lose a lot of players just because of the sheer instability of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's ridiculous. But again, this is not really my call. The fact is that they have an ROI formula over at Scopely, or that they have certain milestones that they've got to reach. They got to have certain bumps in revenue, and though $200 or $300 million sounds and is a lot of money, the fact of the matter is that they're hoping that they make a game that makes $1 billion a year. And so should we be spending all of our time and resources on this product where we've seen the trajectory, we know what kind of revenue it's in, we know what kind of it's on kind of a steady decline, or maybe it's growing, but it's growing at a slow rate or whatever. Should we be putting resources on that, or should we be putting resources on something else that has a chance to make us $1 billion a year? And because there are mobile games that make $1 billion a year, and so that's the decisions they make, and so they say, well, what's a minimum amount of people that we can put on this product, use our resources to our best way that we can, and put them on projects that have more potential for the future, so our revenue streams grow. And it's very common practice in the video game industry to do this, especially at mobile companies.
It sounds like the future is not looking good for Marvel Strike Force then.
Well, maybe it is, maybe it's not. I mean, hopefully that the people that are in charge, the designers and the artists and even the engineers, are coming up with cool plans of things to do that will add a lot of life or new modes or something like that. And yes, it may take a little while for them to do that because they can only work on it, let's say, at a reduced rate. So the content or new features or whatever may take longer to get out. But I'm sure that they have stuff that's kind of in there in the pipe. But also, it's weird that they wouldn't talk about that as well, right? Maybe it's just too early. I don't know, but give the community some hope. I think it would be a nice thing to be addressed. Yeah, I mean, I think that right now it's really frustrating time, especially because of all the crashing. Like the other day, I tried to PvP. I play on my iPad. I don't play on BlueStacks, and I crashed entering PvP. I crashed 4 times, so I couldn't even complete my PvP dailies.
That's absurd.
Because it crashed 4 times. Just enter. As soon as I get to the into the match or whatever, boom, it would just crush. I was like, and it wouldn't give me credit for completing the PvP
no, because you
things.
have to get to the end screen. You gotta
right, exactly. So then I had to spend to actually do my dailies or whatever. It was
was
really
that the
bad,
night? Was that the night you were streaming? Is that when?
No, I mean it crashed this morning. It's crashed twice going into raids. I lost 20 raid tickets this morning.
That's the worst. Yeah, no, like
you
go in, you get to like 99%, and then it just boots you to the home screen. And you're like, well, thanks.
Yeah. One time it got about halfway through the thing. One time it just crashed on enter.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but there's some weird thing that happened in their last patch where everybody, I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I've noticed that I had to re-download like almost all of the assets. Like every single time that I go into and see a new, I want to click on a hero that I haven't seen in a match or haven't brought up like on my roster or something like that. It has to download another, 20 or 50 or whatever, or 100 megabytes or whatever, as it's like downloading the character. I'm like, what is it doing? Why did I have to re-download literally everything? That's extremely costly for them. Like, that's a lot of bandwidth that they have to pay for. I don't know what happened there. Why would we have to re-download everything? It seems really weird.
Yeah, that's I know they have like the download all assets button that we have. Like if you're on Wi-Fi, you can download all the assets. But like I know when I've seen some of my crashes, and then I'll go back in, and all of a sudden it's the same match before. All of a sudden it's downloading new assets, and I'm like, well, hang on a second. Yeah. Like I just went into this battle and it crashed. Why do you need to download more? What is going on? There is something weird in this. Do you have any educated guesses as to what could possibly be wrong that in the background that's causing this?
I mean, I don't really have anything other than they obviously have technology that allows them to flag, whatever asset, whatever character, and say, "Hey, I've new information, a new texture, new model, new animations, new whatever it is," and then it downloads that upon entering the match. It makes sure that it has all the latest versions of the assets. Mm-hmm. And it seems like somehow maybe there was like some sort of change. I don't know what it would be, but somehow like everything got flagged last time. And so we had to download everything again. And I don't know why, but it seems to also coincide with the crashing. And I wonder if maybe there's a bug in that system that like we go in and it doesn't have the right animations, or it doesn't have the textures, or it can't display the right thing, and then it crashes. Maybe that's related. I don't know. But it's complete speculation. But there is something there. There's something weird going on for sure.
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm used to bugs and crashes, but it really feels like all of a sudden it went to like 11 on this patch. Like as soon as the patch hit, the floodgates opened, and
yeah,
I hope they get it figured out soon. I know they're working on it. They're trying to get it all fixed.
I'm sure.
But yeah, it really feels like something just really busted in this patch, and hopefully they get it fixed here soon. So
that'd be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. Like, so
because it's frustrating.
You're still playing Marvel Strike Force every day, but like, is this kind of wearing on you? Just the constant crashes and everything this patch?
It does. It wears on me. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, especially when I like lose all of those, whatever tickets or those kind of things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't make progress in the raid or whatever it is. Like I even like I'll be doing a war or whatever, and it's and it crashes. It's really frustrating to have that happen. So I think that, but I assume that it's going to get better. I mean, I'm hoping that it's getting better. So I'm still holding out hope that maybe they're going to fix some of the bugs. But if it continues for a while, then it's going to really, really drain on me.
Yeah, well, we'll see how things go there in the future, and hopefully they get it fixed here soon. And I mean, they've got Grand Tournament coming up here at some point. I mean, they're definitely trying new game modes. I know you talked about that. Like, they're building what they've got here. Like, we got the tower mode going on right now, which is sort of like a glorified Blitz. It's in the Blitz tab, which is even funnier. But, like, we've got that. We've got the Pocket Dimension, which hopefully comes back soon. Because, man, I could really use some teal gear right now. As could, like, 99.9% of the player population.
Everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's not a shock.
Yeah, no, that's... When you were making those comments earlier about kind of like stretching out the grind, as soon as you said that, like Teal 16 just like popped in my head. I was like, hey, hey, I know exactly what you're referencing here. But that's really gonna wrap it up for the questions I've got here for you. Again, this was awesome having you on. I really do appreciate you coming on. This was a good time. Again, guys, if you guys want to go check out his Twitch stream, it's going to be down below. It's called The Jungle Queen.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure that is down below so people can come check it out. Is there anything else you want to say before we close out the video?
Oh, thanks for having me on. It was really fun, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good meeting someone behind the mind of one of my favorite games of all time, man. It was. It's a pleasure. It's. I'm gonna basically go process this video, go play some Horizon Forbidden West, and then just wait for tomorrow morning to drop so I can drop this video and just be like, hey guys, look who I interviewed. But thanks again for coming on. If you guys did enjoy this video, or you have any questions or comments, make sure to drop them down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.